to today's Sage and Pink Cottagecore home tour. In this video, I'll take you inside a home filled with farmhouse charm, vintage romance, and cozy elegance. From the moment you step through the front door, you'll feel the warmth of soft sage greens blending beautifully with gentle pink hues. This is more than just a home, it's a space where timeless cottagecore beauty meets modern comfort, creating an atmosphere that's both inviting and inspiring. The living room is the centerpiece of this sage and pink cottagecore design. Picture sage green walls softened by vintage floral art, blush pink throw pillows, and rustic farmhouse wood accents. Here, every detail from the textured linen curtains to the antique coffee table tells a story of romance and nostalgia. Cottagecore lovers will appreciate the balance of color and texture, making this space feel both airy and cozy at the same time. When creating a sage and pink color palette for your home, it's important to keep the tones muted for that timeless cottagecore effect. Soft sage brings a grounding, earthy calmness, while pink adds warmth and romance. These shades complement whitewashed wood, rattan accents, and vintage brass fixtures beautifully. This combination is trending in farmhouse and cottagecore decor because it feels fresh yet nostalgic, a perfect choice for seasonal home styling. The entryway sets the tone for the rest of the home. Here, a distressed white bench, sage green coat hooks, and a pink floral wreath create a welcoming vibe. Adding a rustic console table with a mix of old books, ceramic vases, and dried flowers instantly gives guests a peek into your vintage romantic style. Cottagecore is all about storytelling through objects, and the entryway is the first chapter. Nothing says farmhouse charm like a cozy fireplace surrounded by vintage decor. In this sage and pink cottagecore home, the mantel is decorated with antique picture frames, lace doilies, and soft pink candles. Above the fireplace, a large distressed mirror reflects natural light, making the room feel brighter and more spacious. This nook is the perfect spot to curl up with a cup of tea and enjoy the slower pace of cottage life. Cottagecore interiors thrive on texture, and this home combines rustic wood with soft fabrics perfectly. Think reclaimed wood shelves holding porcelain teacups, chunky knit blankets draped over armchairs, and floral patterned cushions in shades of sage and blush. This layering of materials makes the space feel lived in, comfortable, and deeply personal, a true hallmark of vintage farmhouse romance. The kitchen is where the magic happens in any farmhouse home. Here, sage green cabinets with vintage-style brass handles create a timeless backdrop. Open shelving displays pink floral plates, vintage mixing bowls, and glass jars filled with herbs. A rustic wooden island serves as both a prep space and a gathering spot, embodying the cozy communal spirit of cottagecore living. One of the joys of seasonal home decor is being able to refresh your space throughout the year. In this cottagecore kitchen, small touches like pastel pink mugs in spring, soft sage napkins in summer, and dried floral wreaths in fall keep the decor feeling fresh. Mixing vintage finds with seasonal touches is a simple way to keep your farmhouse kitchen looking charming year-round. The dining area is designed for slow, meaningful meals. A vintage farmhouse table with mismatched wooden chairs sits under a crystal chandelier for a touch of elegance. Soft sage table runners and blush pink linen napkins set the stage for warm family gatherings. Fresh flowers in a simple ceramic pitcher serve as a centerpiece, adding to the timeless romance of cottagecore dining. In both the kitchen and dining areas, open shelving allows for curated displays of vintage treasures. Stacks of pastel dishes, antique teapots, and glass jars filled with dried herbs create a layered, lived-in look. This is a perfect way to showcase your personality while keeping your farmhouse and cottagecore decor practical and functional. The bedroom is where the sage and pink cottagecore palette truly shines. Soft sage walls create a calming backdrop, while the vintage white iron bed is layered with blush pink quilts and floral pillows. Lace curtains filter natural light, casting a dreamy glow over the space. A distressed wooden nightstand holds a stack of antique books and a vase of fresh roses, bringing that perfect blend of farmhouse charm and vintage romance. In cottagecore interiors, layering textiles is key for comfort and style. In the bedroom, we see a mix of soft cotton sheets, crocheted throws, and linen pillow covers in muted pinks and greens. These fabrics not only look beautiful but also feel inviting, creating a space you'll want to linger in all day. Adding a handmade quilt or a vintage lace bedspread can enhance the nostalgic farmhouse vibe instantly. A small vintage vanity painted in sage green adds a touch of old-world charm. On top, a crystal perfume bottle collection and a dainty pink porcelain dish for jewelry add subtle elegance. Above the vanity, an oval mirror with a distressed white frame reflects the light from a nearby window, making this corner feel both romantic and functional, a perfect spot for morning routines in a cottagecore farmhouse home. The bathroom in this cottagecore home blends functionality with style. A clawfoot tub painted in soft sage is paired with brass fixtures, while fluffy blush towels add warmth. A small shelf holds vintage glass jars filled with bath salts, and floral print hangs on the wall. The space feels like a personal spa, perfectly aligned with the farmhouse charm and vintage romance theme. Lighting is one of the most powerful tools in home decor, especially for cottagecore. In this home, soft lighting from vintage lamps, fairy lights, and candles creates a warm, welcoming atmosphere. Pink-tinted glass candle holders and brass lanterns add character while enhancing the romantic farmhouse style. The goal is to create a space that feels as good in the evening as it does in daylight. A cozy reading nook is an essential feature for many cottagecore homes. Here, a comfy armchair upholstered in floral fabric sits beside a small side table painted in sage. A vintage lamp provides gentle light, while a stack of well-loved books waits to be enjoyed. Adding a blush throw blanket makes the nook even more inviting, encouraging moments of peaceful, slow living. Cottagecore style celebrates nature, so bringing the outdoors inside is essential. In this home, potted herbs, fresh flowers, and greenery in vintage vases bring life to every corner. The combination of sage foliage and pink blooms perfectly complements the color palette, tying the decor together while keeping the farmhouse romance theme alive. The mantle becomes a focal point with seasonal updates. In spring, pink peonies and sage eucalyptus garlands add freshness. In autumn, dried flowers and copper accents bring warmth. By changing decor elements with the seasons, this cottagecore farmhouse stays dynamic and inspiring throughout the year, perfect for viewers looking for seasonal home decor ideas. One of the joys of vintage romance decor is displaying collections. Whether it's antique teacups, floral china, or embroidered linens, this home uses open shelves and glass cabinets to show off cherished finds. The key is arranging items in soft color groups, sage, blush, ivory, so the display feels intentional and harmonious with the rest of the farmhouse aesthetic. Right outside the kitchen, a small garden provides fresh herbs and flowers that find their way indoors. This direct connection between the garden and the kitchen reinforces the cottagecore lifestyle, self-sufficiency, beauty, and slow living. Sage and pink blooms are planted intentionally so they can be used for both cooking and decorating. From hand-painted floral trays to embroidered pillowcases, this home celebrates the art of handmade decor. In Cottagecore farmhouse design, these small handcrafted pieces add soul to a space. A simple sage crochet table runner or a pink-stitched linen napkin can transform a table setting into something memorable and heartfelt. A successful cottagecore home blends vintage finds with modern comforts. In this house, a modern stove sits beside antique kitchenware, and a contemporary sofa is softened with vintage floral pillows. This mix keeps the space functional while maintaining the nostalgic farmhouse feel that appeals to today's home decor lovers. Every room in this home has a cozy corner, whether it's a small writing desk, a window seat, or a bench by the garden door. Each spot is dressed in soft sage and pink accents, layered with textures that make them feel welcoming. These corners encourage rest, creativity, and connection to the home itself. Florals are at the heart of cottagecore style. In this home, floral patterns appear on cushions, curtains, and artwork, all in a soft vintage palette. Pink roses, sage leaves, and cream blossoms create a cohesive look that feels both fresh and timeless. Florals instantly bring romance into farmhouse design, making them a must-have element. The walls in this home are filled with vintage-style artwork, botanical prints, romantic landscapes, and antique portraits. Many are thrifted or inherited, giving them a unique charm. Placing these in ornate frames painted in sage or distressed white adds to the overall cohesion of the cottagecore aesthetic. When the weather is nice, dining moves outdoors. A rustic wooden table under a tree, dressed in a pink linen tablecloth and sage napkins, creates an enchanting atmosphere. Vintage china, fresh flowers, and soft candlelight make alfresco dining feel like a scene from a storybook. Pure cottagecore magic. One of the reasons this home feels so inviting year-round is its ability to transition decor with the seasons. Swapping out pink for deeper rose in autumn or adding lighter sage in spring keeps the home fresh without a complete overhaul. This approach makes cottagecore decor both beautiful and practical. From painting old furniture in sage green to sewing pink floral pillowcases, DIY projects are a big part of this home's charm. Not only does this add personality, but it also makes the space feel truly lived in. For viewers, these ideas inspire creativity and encourage them to infuse their own homes with farmhouse romance. At its heart, this sage and pink cottagecore farmhouse is about more than just decor, it's about lifestyle. It embraces slow living, values the beauty of handmade items, and celebrates a connection to nature. Each room is a reflection of warmth, love, and a deep appreciation for timeless charm. Thank you for joining me on the Sage and Pink Cottagecore home tour. I hope this journey has inspired you to bring a touch of farmhouse charm and vintage romance into your own home. Whether through soft colors, layered textures, or cherished vintage finds, the beauty of cottagecore lies in creating a space that feels truly yours. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more seasonal home decor inspiration.